Taurus.
Hello Taurus, this is your April forecast, and happy birthday to you early Taurians, which you will have a birthday by the end of the month. Now this is a very interesting month. I suspect it would be for you because it's going to be calling for a lot of introspection. It is a soul search month. All of these planets that we spoke about last month that were in your 11th house for expansion within groups and organizations, being busy doing the to and fro between friends and colleagues and catching up on your hopes and dreams. You've been busy with that, and now it's time to take a step back. Look at what you've achieved, look at where you're heading. Now weed through those things that you feel will continue to behoove you for the rest of the year, in the coming months, and perhaps weed through now certain things that you feel you can weed out, okay? Eliminate a little bit. And when we talk about elimination, 12th house is, yes, a little bit about that, more on a spiritual level, but we also have a big elimination process taking place here towards the end of April when we have the full moon eclipse. The eclipses they're like supermoons that bring in like 3 major full moons all in at once. So it's got super duper power, and you will notice it for sure. And for you Taurians, it's going to be in your 7th house of relationships. So some of you can see that it can eliminate either aspects of this relationship that may not work for you no longer. For others, you might feel that now is the time to actually have that very deep talk that you've probably been thinking about wanting to have for a long, long time. And now it's like these energies are just rising up to the surface all on their own. It's like you can hold things down and suppress for a certain amount of time, like a ball underwater, but then when time is right, it's just going to come up all by itself. I'm feeling that it's on the degree 5 degrees Scorpio, and that is in your 7th house for relationships, partnerships, marriage, whatnot. So you want to kind of look at what other planets do you have 5 degrees in your birth chart, okay? Because they're all going to be felt by this eclipse. Especially the other water signs, since it is in Scorpio, both Pisces and Cancer can feel the oomph of this full moon, and by trine. And eclipses don't always have to be a bad thing. It does eclipse what we don't need out, but yet still it is a full moon, and full moons also harvest those things that we have been working for. So some of you will get to feel the upside of this eclipse that will bring new things into being, but it will be things that you've been working for or working towards. So any planet you got 5 degrees will feel it. So just merge those energies together and you'll get a read for what that is. Now also this 12th house, where you have the Sun and you have Venus, Mars, and Neptune, the new moon is going to join there. 20 degrees in Aries, and that will be on the 10th. So April 10th is the time to plant seeds, and especially since you're having that eclipse later on in the month, I would say on April 10th, try to plant whatever seeds you want to harvest there on the 25th. As far as your relationships, if you're striving to make it better, improving it, or also reaching for a relationship, meditate on this and how you would love to see it unfold. Remember, you are the magician, so we attract what we think. So be sure to make those thoughts beautiful. I don't think that's going to be a problem, because Mars and Venus this month is hand in hand. And blend that with the Neptunian quality there of the 12th house. Well, I have to say that there's going to be a lot of thoughts and feelings, emotions around relationships and how they're working for you or not, or how you would like to see them come into being. 13, 15 degrees there in Aries, and that would be around the 14th that it will ingress into Taurus, followed by Mars on the 20th into Taurus. So you're kind of really looking at starting off into the first house here at the end, mid to end month, with both at Venus and Mars. And we'll be talking more about this next month for you, Taurus, when you're going to have your house loaded there with first house planets. But it's a nice way to start there with the Sun and Mars, because you're coming out then from this hibernation of thinking and feeling and sensing your way and weeding through whatever could be a little clouded, which Neptune can do, especially on those things where you might have felt a little disillusioned in love earlier on. Your thoughts might take you back to that, reflecting a lot on why things happened and how they happened, and trying to sort things out. And it's a good time to just cleanse it out of your heart chakra. You always want your heart chakra healthy, open, and clean, and not stuffed. Okay, that's the only way you can live to the fullest and to embrace life with the fullest of your heart, spirit, and soul. And then we have Uranus also in your 12th house. So yes, it has been there for a while, and it's going to continue to be there for some years still to come. And that means that there's a part of your consciousness that is spiritualizing, opening to new realms. You know, you're so practical and down to earth and very materially oriented, not necessarily just money-wise, which I know you're really good about, but it's more like the day-to-day routines. It's here, it's on this planet, so to speak, and you're so grounded and naturally skeptical to so many things because it's not a part of your consciousness normally. Well, that was Taurians before, so get a load of this, Taurians, because you are awakening. Okay, it's like the awakening starseed. It is the opening of your crown, understanding that there are more dimensions than just the physical with the five senses. Some of you might start receiving flashes or dreams, insights, and don't let it shock you. Some of you might even get out-of-body experiences, or just this sense that you're not alone, that there is in fact guardians around you. And this is something that's going to develop very slowly, as those things should, so it won't be totally shocking when you open your own veils and you really see what's out there. So you got that for several years, but all of these planets now have been touching upon this Uranus, okay, here in March, touching upon early April too, touching upon that Uranus. And so some of you might have felt this little electrical current going through you and go, wow, what's that? You know, it's like you'll start seeing, feeling, and sensing differently. Trust me, this is just a little taste, because you're going to get more of that as time progresses. Now, Jupiter in your second house, finances, yes, Jupiter is moving forward. You might have started to feel how it could lift a little bit there in March, but now as we're in April, it's really regained its traction. You are a money magnet, and the more you think in the correct way of how to improve your financial situation, the easier it is going to be to draw that towards you. Okay, so money doesn't always have to come from one source, your income source. Money can come to you from many rivers, you know, and the river knows how to find its way to the ocean. So don't limit yourself. Don't think it just has to come from there. It's like tell the universe you're ready to receive, you know, and just put it out there with no expectations. Just open, and you'll see how the law of attraction can work magic for you, especially because it is in your second house now, and will be there to the end of June. So you got April, May, and June to practice how the law of attraction can work in your life. And I want to hear about that, okay? So you're the only one having it in your money house for now, so you are the lucky ones. And then we have Mercury and Neptune here at the top of the month, hand in hand. so to speak, while they're within a slight orb. Mercury has just then passed Neptune in March and sensitized a lot of your thinking, feeling, longing, yearning for insight and understanding this spirituality, wanting to try to find a certain connection of how things kind of tie together. There might have been a little confusion for some of you because the Mercury can feel clouded by Neptune if you're not really one of those spiritual people that are really connected to your higher up chakras. But you know, it does give you that chance once a year to connect with that feeling so you can really work at opening those higher senses of yours. Pluto in the 9th house, yeah, there is still a lot of changes and transformations going on in your higher way of thinking, philosophy, perhaps trying to understand the world through a higher dimension, different eyes. That's at least what Pluto's trying to do for you. Pluto is all about transforming that new you. And the 9th house is about expansion, the worldview that we look through. And things that you might have believed, which is a key word of the 9th house, belief, what you might have believed to be true in the past might just suddenly start passing away, you know, and you'll see as new thoughts, new insights, new dogmas may come into being, and it's gonna be extremely exciting here over these next years. You're probably gonna have it the next 8-9 years. I don't have my long-term guide here with me, but in Capricorn, see, Capricorn in itself is Saturnian ruled, which is also very grounded, and you're grounded as a Taurian. So it's like your firm beliefs might have had a certain structure. This is what I believe, you know, and it may come through tradition, through the family, without, and just accepting that dogma without allowing yourself to question it. Okay, so the universe is right now kind of yanking something away from you and saying, well, what do you believe? What do you really think about this? You know, you might find yourself starting to pick it apart in pieces and say, hey, maybe it isn't what I've always believed because I never thought about it, just accepted it. But this thinking process, trust me, Taurians, this transformation over these next few years, you will see how deep and embedded it will become, ingrained into your soul, that your worldview will transform. And then it also rules legal matters and those things. So if you have anything like that going on, well, you know, Pluto's going to do its thing there for a while. As far as that goes, the 24th is going to be a good day to deal with any kind of legal matters where you can feel that you have a little bit more grip or more understanding or more insight, or whatever has been communicated earlier in the month will leave you knowing and feeling a little bit more secure. And then Venus has already moved into that first house out of the 12th, which has been a little hidden or behind the scenes. So it's more of a hands-on, and that makes you, Taurus, quite happy. What else do we have this month? We have the new moon on the 10th, and that will be in your 12th house also. So it's actually for you to seed in on what you want. What are you dreaming? Pay attention to those dreams. I spoke about it a little bit earlier there as far as like your relationships as well. But yeah, pay attention to your dreams, because 12th house is all about dreaming, and see what messages, spiritual messages you can perceive from it. You might also be sensing that there's more energy around you, more of that spiritual dimension coming in with all of these planets here. Good for you, you're lucky. Now, and then also we're going to end the end of the month here with Mars and Saturn working together in, what should I say, a little bit of a challenging way. But that doesn't need to be negative. It can be. Mars wants one thing, Saturn wants another thing, and it can be this tug of war. So be careful, or lay low so you don't get into any arguments there at the end of the month. However, and especially because it's tying in with Saturn, so we might have a little bit of a cranky full moon with this full moon eclipse Saturn opposing Mars. So there might be fallouts, misunderstandings, or just agreements that won't come together, and where you might feel you have to fight for it. But as long as you know it, don't let it intimidate you. What it really means is to see it, be aware of it, and then allow the other party to act it all out. If that's what they want to do, let them act it out. But be careful to not fall into the mirror vision of it. Be the observer. If you can be the observer, you don't have to go through this horrible tug of war, because once people get angry, then they lose whatever objectives that can work things out. So it's better just to wait, lay low a couple of days. Then you can re-access it, bring it up, talk about it, and it's going to be calmer, and then you'll have more of a sense of hold on it. So that's pretty much what we have here for this month. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be busy, it's got a little of this, little of that, but we're leading up to your May forecast, which is going to be a whole lot more about money and finance. No, I'm sorry. Yes, it will be. It will be too, because Jupiter is still there. But also, as Venus and Mars goes into your first house, it is just going to really open up things there with your sun as well. So make sure to listen to your moon sign, rising sign, and also listen to your partner's horoscope. See what's going on with him and her. And it was good to see you this month. Bye now.